Welcome, everybody, for the first Community Pulse of the new year, 2025. Action packed today, my friends. You guys asked, and we have delivered 12 months. It's been January 25th is when I got rolled out initially. And needless to say, the comments were filled with quite a bunch of things. And we read between the lines the best that we could. And today I am beyond excited. We're talking all things budget. Yes, you heard it here first. Tom Ahles, your treasurer, will be going over the AIME budget, showcasing it to you, kind of explaining to you where we're headed, what we're doing. That's the first time ever. All of last year, as you know, I didn't receive a salary. This year, I am receiving one. Your board of directors put that together. Tom will also be going through that proposal with you and just explaining to you how it all works. You guys will have access to the meeting minutes, the bylaws, which have been updated. We have delivered every step of the way. Can we do better? Of course, we can do more. Just like you could do more, and I can do more, and everybody in our lives can do more. That's just the reality of it. So we're going to continue to improve, continue to make this spot as transparent as can be, continue to answer all the questions that you might have as we go along this journey. We also have updates for Hall of AIME, as you saw some of the things that I've posted and sent out to our group. Also going to be going through social media prospecting. Very important key that you understand how to leverage social media prospecting with Michelle Berman, who is bringing the heat. She's become an incredible friend of mine. But more importantly, it's the tangible action items that she takes. And when you get to know this human being, it's really incredible to watch her personal life line up with her work life, because I don't believe in a work-life balance. I believe in a life balance. My life just happens to have a lot of work, just like so many of you. Her being no different. This human being is extraordinary. Her focus, her dedication to her craft, to her business, a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, successful business owner, gym enthusiast. She is dialed in across the board. So I'm excited for her to go over social media prospecting and the importance of it and how to leverage it. And last but not least, AIME's Unify event, talking about 6 events that AIME is putting together for you, coming to a place local to you. You'll hear about those updates more and more coming in. So, couple membership updates before I talk it over to our looking forward to. I know that very much so in Tom Ahles and the treasurer as he goes through all of it. So, number one, coming from the vendor side of things, vendor partnerships, Bonzo, MMI, Strategic Compliance Partners, Agency Next, Stickum, the defining difference, and many more to come over the next several months. We have a line out the door. We're putting the right people in front of our community. Every vendor we're now bringing in, just so you know, gets vetted by our board of directors. So your board is filled with people that work at a national level, regional, and a local level to make sure that when we're providing this intel and the vendors to you, that you understand where it's coming from each perspective, depending on the size of the business that you have or the size of the business you might be working for. So that's a really big deal and something we're vetting out by loan officers for loan officers. So that's a big thing for you to stay focused on. We're vetting them out. Just ask as many questions as you can. Lender side of things, we've announced UWM, Windsor, AFR Wholesale, Cake, PRMG, RCN Capital, Gold Star, NewFi, so many more to come with some exciting announcements on some newer lenders around the corner that I think some of you will go, whoa, can't believe you guys figured that out. And we did, absolutely did every step of the way. Huge, huge benefit for those that don't know. Advantage Credit, we've talked about it before. I'm going to say it again. For elite and VIP members, Advantage Credit is giving us $3 off each hard inquiry. So $3 that you're saving on every single deal. You know, $3 is $3 and it goes a long way. Matter of fact, if anyone here has ever been to Jimmy John's before, inside of Jimmy John's, they list Warren Buffett's top things that he looks for before buying a business. One of the things he pays attention to, and you can go look this up, is he likes companies that pay attention to the amount of toilet paper that they use and even know the expense behind the toilet paper. I know that sounds crazy, but that's coming from one of the best investors this world's ever seen, Warren Buffett. You can look that up. So $3, to some people, you might say, John, it's $3. You see, to me, it goes a real long way. And I hope you think that way as well, because some of the greatest minds in the world think about all the little areas and where you can save. Plus, they've been an incredible AIME partner. They're constantly providing the best value, incredible feedback, and just an overall wonderful service across the board. And some of you might ask, does Next Door Lending use them? The answer is yes. We've been using them for some time prior to even AIME. So we are leveraging Advantage Credit. I highly recommend you take a look and see the savings that you can bring your way. Some association updates. We are doing so many things from a podcast perspective. We've launched an entirely new podcast platform across the board. And part of this platform is to get in front of you in all the different methods. One of those methods is cooking with a hint of sales advice. So if you're somebody that loves to cook and you want, make sure you turn off anything that can make noise. So shame on me for not doing that. That's the importance of being prepared. But anybody you know that you love to cook, you want to be part of this, please reach out to us. Let us know. We'd love to have you a part of this cooking platform. It's going to be fantastic and a lot of fun. Broker Power Up has been moved into an all-encompassing podcast across the board. Around the corner, we have our Unify events. Unify the community with an emphasis on unity in that word. Our first two are structured. We will be in Dallas and in Phoenix next month. We have 6 total of these happening across the board, so be on the lookout for more news. Come join us. Come learn. It's on our dime, but we're here to teach you, your consumers, your real estate agents, just about leveraging a mortgage broker, what it actually means. We're also here to connect the community, to have fun, to just talk about life, not just business related. So you can see that AIME is in your local areas, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Traveled a lot last year. Don't intend to stop that this year. A lot more connections with our broker community at the local, regional, and national level. So if you're interested, getting involved more, reach out to us, Jonathon, Jonathon at aimegroup.com. Would love to connect with every single one of you. So last but not least, Hall of AIME. You know, I think running towards an award every year is something that keeps you inspired and motivated. And for AIME, we have Hall of AIME, and it's been around for some time. And what we did is just some fine tuning. We fine tuned this. We met with the VIP members and we broke down the criteria for Hall of AIME. It is up on the website. It's also in the Facebook group. If you look at the most pinned post at the top of the Facebook group, you see it there. You'll see my post about it. It details out exactly how you can win Hall of AIME. There's never a guess anymore moving forward. You have the chance to win. And there were some people last year, some talks. Well, John, I mean, isn't the same lender going to win every year? Isn't the same person? No. What we have done is there's a 2-year waiting period. If you win one award, you have to wait 2 years to win that same award again. That doesn't mean you can't win a different award without having to wait that 2-year period. But we're giving everybody a chance to show up with your best. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do to get yourself up on that list and get celebrated the night of Hall of AIME? This year's will be special in Nashville. I'm not going to give away too many details because I know the marketing team is watching me carefully, making sure I'm not spilling the beans on any of the exciting things coming our way. So be prepared for it. Hall of AIME at Fuse this year is going to be one for the making, and we are excited to see you all. Without further ado, I would like to bring in our treasurer, Mr. Tom Ahles. You know, the man behind the camera is Tommy Golightly, who set up the podcast. So please give him a huge shout out. Tommy, thank you for everything. But if you could bring Tom up here, my friend. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Jonathan, for having me on. I love our Community Pulse events as one, leading an organization as you do with transparency and integrity and with a clear vision has made me double down on even my involvement within our community. I think your statement is really simple. Our goal is to help loan officers close more loans. And to me, there's no fluff about it. That's what we've been doing. That's what you've been doing. And as a community, we continue to focus on. So yeah, excited to be here and to share first time ever our budget.
Yes, sir. And with that being said, I'm going to remove myself from the camera so you can have all the fun, and I'll go check in on the comments that we got coming our way. So, Tom, if you could take.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Jonathan. As a lot of AIME is, Jonathan talked about, it's on our budget, right? Or on our dollar. The reality is, the way I view it, is it's your dollar. It's your money. And one of the things that I wanted to have as part of being a part of the association is transparency. Just so it's clear, I'm not paid to do this. It's something I volunteer to do. Is I find it very important that we have an association that's built on integrity and transparency. So that's what we did. And so I am going to share a little bit of our budget today, but I also want to make it clear that as members, you have access to receive any of the documents that we approve as a board. Jonathon, as much as what he is definitely leading this organization's, the decisions that are being made at a board level. So we have had monthly scheduled board meetings with minutes, to where all of that, if you want access to our budget, you can email aimtransparency@aimegroup.com. So I'm going to dive in. Let's get over. I'll try to make this quick, as I know, for one, I like to know the information, but sometimes I don't want to put people to sleep, because I know we got Michelle Berman coming that'll really get you guys excited here. So with that being said, let me pull this up. Budget for this year. So 2025 budget resolution that you're going to see here. This is what the board approved. There's a couple key talking points that I want to go over, right? The board of directors approved this budget. The treasurer shall ensure the board of directors receives a comprehensive budget, finance, and accounting report in January, April, July, and December. We also have, I moved it. Let me come back in. The treasurer shall ensure receipts for all expenditures are retained in official records. No discretionary expenditures in excess of $10,000 may be obligated without board approval, and no employee shall be terminated for the purpose of cost savings without board of director approval. So expenditures in no category of the budget shall exceed the approval amount without board of director approval. So when we look at this, I'm going to let you guys know, just so you're aware, you will have access to this approved budget. If you want to have a copy of it, please email aimtransparency@aimegroup.com. But I'm going to cover the basics, right? First thing being our events. Jonathon talked about the events that we're throwing. Fuse 2025 in Nashville is going to be outstanding. We've budgeted $1.45 million for that event. So it's approximately about $140,000 over our 2024 budget of what we held in New Orleans. So, standard inflationary costs. Now, if we don't spend it all, that's fine. But I want to make sure that our group has bumpers, right? I want to make sure that we're aligned in being good fiduciaries. So that is our budget for Fuse. Unify. These are the community events where we're showing, Jonathon laid those out, where we're going to be in Dallas and Phoenix. We've budgeted $10,000 each for those events, for Dallas and Texas, and then roughly $5,000 for each obligated event. We have a max $100K allotted for all other AIME events that we may AIME or host. So there's things, as you've noticed, Jonathon has been a connector in this space with other trade groups, with other, we talked to FAMP recently and said, hey, here's something, they're doing an amazing job. How do we become partners with you, right? Those are things to where we've allocated funds to do that. So from an operations side, we allocated $475,000, actively clearing our past debt and taxes and eliminating other unnecessary expenses to further reduce our spending, right? So just to give you guys an example, I have been a part of AIME really since the beginning of it, and I've kind of taken a back role, had a great time learning and being involved over the years, took over the treasurer role, and now I've dug in, right? 2022, we spent $8.2 million, okay? 2023, $7.3 million. Understanding that this year's budget is based off of $4.7 million, right? We've almost cut it in half. So approximately $360,000 for broker member projected revenue this year, and that's still growing. We have $274,000 in vendor member partner projected revenue, and that's growing. Bennett from our team has rebuilt our vendor relationships program from ground up. We have 22 signed agreements, 4 preparing to launch. Our goal is to really hit 40 by June 30th. So approximately another $1.1 million in lender partner projected revenue, and that's growing. Jen Wilson and Kenneth Travis, one of our new AIME team members here signed 7 lender partners agreement with 2 more renewals and 2 new lenders in final negotiations. And our title sponsor, UWM, still continues to provide us robust support to make sure that we can bring everything at the highest level. So for wages this year, we're working lean, okay? We have 15 full-time employees at AIME serving your needs. And then we have 2, I'll say, part-time hourly employees. For those of you, I know I've said this, but some may have heard it or didn't. John worked for free in 2024, right? He was really looking at it, and I went over the budget with him and said, hey, we really got to get some things situated. He gave his time into this community of 2024. I don't think that that's how we want to continue. I want to make sure that when Jonathon leaves here, we have a set budget approved for a salary for someone that's working as hard as what he is and what our future leaders will be of this organization. So the board did approve a salary of him at $250,000 a year. This is consistent with historical pay, and we did research on comparable organizations. Like, this isn't a number just made up. Our board of directors went in. We did research on what is reasonable based on the budget that we're working with. And to me, the guy, for what he's getting paid hourly, if we break it down, he still may make more money flipping burgers somewhere. But he's dedicated to it. And I think it's clear that the organization knows what we're paying, because in my opinion, this isn't AIME's money. This is our membership's money. So we want AIME to be a good place to work. We've had high retention, and it also saves us a lot of cost of hiring and training new employees. So we've had improved salaries and benefits for our team this year, providing competitive raises for long stagnant salaries, right? We've had a couple people that have been in the same forever. We went through and recognized them. Medical insurance premiums before used to only be a 25% coverage. We moved that to 50% employer coverage. 401k for our team members, we didn't have a match, so we budgeted for 3% matching this year. And we also implemented a modest commission structure for our vendor and lender relations team and broker member relations team. So they have a commission plan that's modest to make sure, one, they're continuing the engagement, being there for the support, especially on a lot of the escalations and things that our lender partners really help us with. And we improved our PTO accrual, matched federal paid holidays, plus we gave Friday after Thanksgiving. So what has that yielded us? Well, 2024, we've had no resignations, right? As a team, we're very cohesive. We have a loyal, hardworking, and dedicated staff. To me, this it brings something around. I'm excited to serve. I'm excited to share this with you guys as a membership, knowing what does it look like for the future of AIME. You're seeing it. The times are changing a little. We want to make sure that we're being as truthful, as transparent with what's going on with this budget. So for me, that's really all I have on the budget. I would say if you guys want more information, you can always reach out to me. If you want copies of any of the documents that we're discussing today, reach back out to AIME Transparency at aimegroup.com or myself at tom@aimegroup.com. So, Jonathon, come back on board with me. I think we've covered the budget piece of it, unless there's questions I need to answer.
No, man. Thank you so much. I mean, doing it only the way you can. You've been incredibly instrumental. For those that don't know Tom. Tom is a very dialed in human being. And, one of the things that he said to me that hit me really hard early on, it's, we are a fiduciary. You are giving us money and saying, hey, do the right thing with this money. And that's not something we take lightly. And the more I understand this role and do what I do, with it being the first time in a role like this for me, the more I really take that to heart each and every single day. And Tom, you've been incredible facilitating that, and even the little things that you do, right? Hey, I'm the head of this. I'm not signing this unless I understand it, unless I know it. So obviously the way you run it definitely carried over onto this side of things, and we are very grateful for that. And it's been awesome working alongside you, getting this thing together for our people. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, to me, I listen to the chatter, right? And I think there's been a long stated incrementation that, hey, you do whatever you want to do. And where does all this money going? That's not how it happens anymore. We're to the point to where we review monthly statements. I mean, for every dollar that's spent, because one, I've given a lot of money to the organization. I still pay for my membership. I want this to be a community that you can trust and that you know what is our mission and what are we doing. And I think with your leadership, it's just been laid out extremely clear. We have the transparency. Anyone that needs more information on it, reach out to me, but I'm thankful to be of service.
Tom, we have just one question I think we can answer live. We have a few questions, but this one I think you could take.
I see it. If the budget is cut in half, what are we losing or where is the difference being felt? That's a great question. So part of what we laid out was the events. Okay. So when we look at what we're doing for events, a lot of it has been trimming fat of things that, I would say are unnecessary expenses. There is a lot of things that go into that. I mean, from even our back end portal and how it's being operated. There are some things that I would say we've combined. As you know, we used to have Hall of AIME separate, right? We haven't had that yet. We got to combine it into one. Once we get our budget back to where we can start doing those things, we'll be able to deliver more events. The biggest cut, though, not to get political here, but I would say, like, I feel like the Doge person here a little bit. Department of AIME efficiency is really looking at the efficiency of where things are being done. Where are our dollars going? Right? There isn't a dollar spent in this community anymore that doesn't have multiple sets of eyes on it. And not to state that there was things that were happening prior, but it was like, it takes a lot to build a community. We've built the community. Jonathon got to step into where he has a community built, right? Where a lot of that money was sent before building the community, right? So might have been a more entertainment cost and different things where for now, we're just there's no cuts being made. And that's the great part. It's just we've cut to spending that wasn't needed. And we've looked at it and micromanaging it to a point where we're managing your dollars with the transparency that I feel is needed.
Thank you, Tom. And that's it, y'all. Like, it is about combining. Like, were there things we can combine? Hall of AIME, like he said, with Fuse. We thought that was a really good area to cut money. It's just, is there other efficiencies, moving away from certain technology? Just different things we could add that add up rather quickly as you start talking through them. Tom, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
one last thing. One of the things that I didn't say, it was like even our cut last year for Fuse. When we were in Vegas is so expensive, right? You have to use union labor. You have to do all of the things that, Fuse is probably half the cost of what it used to be, right? So these are things when we look at it, and we're doing Nashville this year. Next year, wait for the announcement when it comes, but we're doing it in a different location. Things that are more, I would say, we're not stuck to these higher labor costs that we have to pay in Las Vegas, but also more central so our community can come together and hit different markets. So there won't be any cuts that you will feel. I think you'll see the expansions and knowing that we have bumpers on every dollar that's spent here.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, man. I don't know if we'd rather have anybody at that helm for the treasurer side. Seriously. Thanks for everything and how seriously you took this. I want the community to understand how serious you took every signature that you made. And you put a lot of signatures, whether it's our tax returns, the bylaws, the budget, your signatures on a lot of these. And I know how serious you take it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, of course. Thank you very much. All right. Without further ado, there it is. You got it. You got the transparency you were all looking for. 12 months in, we took a beating up front, and I'll speak just for myself on that, and everybody did. But we're warriors. We're dialed in. We're strategic. We're winners. We have a very strong mindset. That's every single one of you listening to this call, because being a mortgage broker in general is not easy. You start at zero every month, and you got to have a lot of mental fortitude. So this was something we were excited for, and we're glad to deliver. Now, without further ado, we're here to talk sales, and the future of sales, as we've been talking about for years now, but it's becoming more and more relevant as AI and other things start to pick up. Social media and the way you're represented to consumers. If you don't know how to do it, do you have the right people in your corner teaching you how to do it? And it's much deeper than just social media coaching. Matter of fact, you can't call this person a social media coach. She takes offense to it. She is a social media prospector, teaching you every way on leveraging your platform, regardless of your followers. You might be saying, John, I only have this many followers. She doesn't care. She will teach you with the amount of followers you have, because there's a process, a play, and she has dialed and committed herself into this infrastructure. I've gotten to know this human being more and more each and every single day. and she is a warrior, the elite of the elite. Her day-to-day is so dialed in. I challenge each of you, myself included, to try and just keep up with this human being. Michelle, if you can please come front and center, my friend. How are you today?
I'm so good. I don't even know. I have the biggest smile on my face. You're just such an incredible human, John. And being on the backside of that and like watching the transparency and seeing all the comments and even just like what I've known of AIME prior to this moment and getting to be on here with you, just I'm honored to even be on the screen with you.
You're amazing, easy to talk about because you do all the right things each and every single day. The floor is yours, my friend. We are going to remove me and take it over from there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's go ahead and get our presentation going. Hopefully this will work just fine. And once it is on there, we'll get going. Okay. Hopefully you guys can all see that. Let's get my presentation mode happening here. And there we go. Now we are good. Awesome. Okay. So for those of you guys who are not familiar with me, maybe you have never heard of my name. I hope I have the honor and the pleasure to be in your DMs after this. I love getting to know other brokers, other people in the industry that are trying to use social. And really the key back points to who I am and what I do is I am a social media prospecting expert. There is a huge difference. And there is also a huge difference between what most of you, I don't want to say all, but most of you have probably been taught as it relates to social. So I would love for you guys to comment below and tell me, are you using social right now in a way that is actually designed to create conversion? Or are you just posting and waiting for conversion to happen? Meaning, are you creating content, posting it, saying, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but I'll answer the message or I'll answer the DM if I get one, right? So I want you guys to say, are you creating, or comment in the chat, are you creating content and putting it out there and waiting for a response? Or are you looking at social as a genuine ROI source of, I get on social every single morning and I make a very conscious decision as to who I am sending a message to and what the end result of that message is. And this is so important. And this is a huge part of what we're going to talk about. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. And while you guys are commenting on that, for any of you guys who are not connected to me, that QR code on the screen will get you directly to my Instagram. Take a screenshot, tag me, whatever, send me a message. I would love to connect with you guys through the platform. And quickly, while you guys are commenting, I'll tell you guys three big things about me. First and foremost, I'm a mom first. I have a 3-year-old boy. His name is Knox, named after Fort Knox for all the moms up in here. And other two big things about me. Number one is fitness is a huge part of my life. I'm a big runner. I am a former competitive CrossFitter, and I actually swam competitively for 20 years prior to getting into and starting my company in 2014. So fitness is a huge part of who I am. It's not the only part of who I am, but it is a huge part. And so seeing the triathlon biking pictures above Tom's desk when he was talking was really inspiring to me and motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. But that's another big thing. And then the third big thing is I am a military wife. I live in a military town. I live in right off the base of Clarksville, Tennessee, off of Fort Campbell. My husband is retired Special Forces. And we now live here. He's the strength and conditioning coach for the guys going into selection and those who want to go into Ranger school. So when I say fitness is a huge part of our life, it's kind of on purpose, but also on accident, because I really don't have a choice but to care about fitness, right? When your husband is who he is. So really, really cool to be a part of his life and to watch his career grow while also being a healthy human in the process. So a couple of you guys are commenting, no, posting and waiting. I get on and think about who I want to respond to, and then I make sure I engage. That's great, Chris. That's awesome. Gregory says, honestly, it's probably a 40-60 mix, trying to keep making sure my content is providing educational value. I love that you said that, Gregory. Educational value is probably the number one thing that people call me about. And they'll say, Michelle, I want to add value. I want to add value. I want more people to learn about this. And I want more people to understand about the mortgage process. And all of that is so good and so important. But it's a matter of how we deliver that information that is really an issue right now, because educational content doesn't actually create connection unless you build the connection into it. So if there's one thing I can tell you, this sentence or this quote, if you will, when I said it on accident when I was on a podcast, and I had to go back and watch the recording, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to write that down. But if you are on social media right now, or if you are using social in any capacity, you do not need more followers. You do not need more likes. You do not need more video views. You do not need more comments on your content. Because at the end of the day, content that we produce, unless our job is to get, or unless our goal is to make $100 off of a reel going viral, then we can't look at content as a transaction, right? Meaning we can't post this educational video and say, if I post this educational video about DTI or about this new DPA program or about XYZ, whatever it is, if we post it with that intention, the person on the receiving end is going to feel that, right? Not that it's not educational, but it's about the delivery of how we give that education to the audience. It can't be transactional. It has to be based off of this relationship that I'm trying to build with the person on the other side or the person that's receiving it, right? So this is where I'm foreshadowing, right? Talking about your fitness, talking about the things that you do in your personal life. Do you love baking? Do you love wine? Do you love ultra marathons or running? Do you love archery? I mean, I have a client right now that's doing an entire series on bourbon, right? Guy loves bourbon. I think it's freaking cool. So we're building content around these passions that people, or these things that people enjoy outside of work, into how we deliver that educational information. So if there's one thing that you guys really, really need to understand, it's that your content is not a dumping ground for education. It's a place to be able to build relationships where that education now has value to them because they like you, right? I have to like the person that I'm going to hire. If I'm going to give them my money, I have to feel this sort of emotional connection to them. And if I have that, we've been talking about authenticity and transparency. We've been talking about vulnerability, right? I love being vulnerable because I think it makes us relatable. I am a very high DI. That's my personality type. If you guys have ever taken the Strength Finder Index, it's kind of funny. Mine actually says virtually unemployable. When we got that result back, my coach was pretty much laughed out loud at me. And he was like, well, that's not surprising. But really, it's because I just have this very big personality. But how do I make that big personality more attainable to the other people that are consuming my content? I be a real person. I be a mom. I be a wife. I be a person that's going through personal things. And I share all of that information. Now I get to control the narrative in that case, because now people really know who I am and what I want them to know about me versus the other way around, right? So really important part of that. So most professionals do not need more likes. We need clients, right? We need to be producing content with the intention of getting clients inbound. So how does that happen, right? And that's really what we're going to talk about is how do we make that happen? Because right now it's not for many of you. So a couple of statistics. I'm not a big stat girl. I know that there's, value in the money side, or value in the data side. I shouldn't say money side. But the reality of it is that we have to understand why this is so important. So there is one big stat that really stood out to me dramatically when I was doing a lot of this research. And it's that 69% of marketers, when they got surveyed, or people that are trying to use social as a marketing platform, said that they were prioritizing their follower growth. But of that 69%, only 18% were actually seeing ROI off the platform, meaning there was a huge disconnect between the people that were spending time, energy, money, putting all this effort into social, but they're not getting anything out of it. And when someone calls me and says, Michelle, I'm putting time, I'm spending all this money, I'm doing all these things on social, why am I not getting ROI? I have two questions for you. And this goes for every single one of you guys watching this. Number one, are you yourself sending a message every single day to someone that you do not know? And this is something I actually gave Jonathon as a homework assignment when I first met him. He can tell that story better than I can, but I text him and I say, did you prospect today? He's like, oh, thanks for texting me. So then I have to remind him in a good way, right, to keep him accountable for that. But if there's one thing I can tell you guys that you really have to understand, we have to get off of this hamster wheel of content creation, right? Because if you are creating content all the time, you're doing a good thing, right? You're creating visibility for yourself. But how do you take a content strategy and turn it into a conversion opportunity, right? How do you take a content strategy and create a conversion opportunity out of it? And how that happens is by sending a message every single day to someone that you do not know. And the best way to do it is through my favorite word in the English dictionary, which is leverage, meaning you are sending a message to someone that you do not know, through a lever, or what that essentially means is through somebody that you already have a great relationship with. One of my very dear friends, Julie Yarborough, who you guys all know, she's probably on here watching me. She might throw a tomato at my screen when I say this, but one of the things that I love so much about Julie is she's constantly mentoring other people. And one of the things she said to me way early on when we first met was, you have to learn how to sell through people, right? Or sell through someone to get to a new relationship. And that really is the true definition of leverage, right? Is how do I create leverage between me and this person to build a new relationship? So if there is a disconnect between what you are doing with your content and the ROI you are getting out of it, it's that one thing that you can do right now today that will totally change everything about how you social, or how you use social, or how you sell through social, right? Meaning send a message every day to somebody that you do not know through someone that you already have a relationship with. Can you name drop somebody? Can you send a message saying, hey, I saw that you were tagged with this or with this person. Hey, I saw that you know this person. How do you and I not know? Hey, I would love to get on a call and see if there's some synergy between the two of us based off of a relationship you have with this other person, right? So we have to start to take our content and use it as the framework of how we prospect, meaning literally what we post about has to become the foundation of how we prospect. Now, really good example. Many of you guys know a gentleman named Tyler Hodgson, I believe is how you say his last name, but I tend to always say it wrong. But Tyler and I have become friends. And I actually found him through a client of mine, Wade Betts, who many of you guys likely know. Wade's been a client of mine for years. But Wade tagged himself with Tyler at a half marathon race that Tyler did in Dallas. I didn't know Tyler. I had never met him. I knew of him. And I saw that and I said, well, that's cool. I run too. So I used Wade as a lever to get a relationship started with Tyler. It was the easiest message ever. But the message I sent to him had everything to do with running, had everything to do with the fact that he just ran a half marathon, posted his screenshot of his time and his average pace and all of that. And the initial message had nothing to do with, hey, I think I might be a great fit to do a webinar for your company. Like, I would never say that, right? My job was to create a relationship with him based off of a genuine, authentic connection with running. Now, here's where this gets really, really important, and why I said your content is the foundation of how you prospect. Because Tyler, naturally, the very first thing Tyler's going to do is he's going to go look at my profile and be like, who the heck is this girl? And most likely, a lot of us, we tend to leave that personal content out, or we think nobody will care, right? How many of you guys have ever said that? Nobody will care. Nobody cares what I do during the day, right? Or I don't do very much stuff during the day. I'm home all the time, right? I heard that this morning from a client on a coaching call. But the reality is that our content, when we share it, that's how we create connection points. And that's how Tyler, for example, clicks on my profile, looks at it. Now, if there's nothing about running anywhere, if I don't talk about running, if I don't talk about the half marathon I'm training for, if I don't talk about fitness in any capacity, Tyler's probably or likely said to himself, who is this girl, right? I'm out. But when he clicked on my profile and looked at it, he saw all of the half marathon conversation. He saw all of the training that I do and all of the fitness part of who I am as a human outside of work. And therefore, I am who I say I am, right? So your content has to be the foundation of how you prospect, because if I get on the phone with somebody and the first thing out of my mouth is, hey, I think I can get you a better interest rate, that person's probably going to hang up on me. But if I get on a call with this person and the first thing I say to them is, hey, I saw that your daughter or your son was actually in this, or hey, I saw you were recently at this place or this vacation. I've been really wanting to go there. Is there anything you can tell me about it? Right? And we're trying to create this relationship first. Now, this is really important too. Again, your content, what you post, quite literally, is the foundation of how you prospect, or what those conversations will look like when you get on the phone with someone. So the true difference, and I really want you guys to hopefully understand the reason Jonathon wanted me on this call is in 2025, right? And I feel like, honestly, it's been happening for years, but in 2025, I really, really urge all of you to look at social media as a prospecting part or arm of your company, right? Or of your business. How do you go make more money through something that you're spending all of this time and effort in or on? And there's only one thing you have to do. Two things, sorry. One, you have to post more personal content Number 2, you have to send a message to somebody that you do not know every single day for 365 days. That's it. But here's the thing. A social media coach is going to help you look good and grow an audience. We need that, right? They have their purpose. They serve a very important part of what we do. But you also have to have a conversion strategy, right? So if you're only looking at your content and posting and you're on this hamster wheel of, I got to make more videos, but you don't have a conversion strategy in place, a year from now, you're going to be sitting in the exact same spot that you were a year before this or today. You will make no forward progress if all you're doing is just posting content all the time without a plan as to how to convert that effort, right? So that is what a social media prospecting coach does. That's what I do. I teach you how to turn the content you're already producing into ROI, right? One is about influence. The other is about income. You make the decision about which one's more important to you right now. Both of them matter. I'm not saying that you can't do or that you shouldn't have a social media coach and you should only have a social media prospecting coach or vice versa, right? One is about influence, one is about income. They have to both matter. And so making that transition to what matters for you today and what you're doing in your business is my point in saying that. So again, one of them is about vanity, right? The overall, what does my content look like? How many followers do I have? How much engagement am I getting? What are my profile visits number? The percentages that we like to see. My engagement's up 100%, or my profile visits are up 127%, whatever it is. And guys, I do it too, right? I've been spending more time on LinkedIn. And when I look at my LinkedIn account and the first thing I see when I log in is my impressions, I like the feeling of seeing and knowing that my impressions are going up. But I also understand that just because it's going up doesn't mean that it's going to convert unless I put myself into it and create the outbound messaging and focus on who I'm talking to in conjunction with the content I'm producing. So hopefully that's clear. Now, here's our shift from old to new. Our old model is we are posting and hoping for likes. We're posting content and praying that someone's going to reach out to us. The new model is we're posting content, and the content we share is very targeted based off the conversations we know we're going to have in our DMs, right? So the content itself is very, very structured, knowing that the content we share has to become the foundation of the conversations that we're going to have in our DMs. If I'm going to be talking to other people about running, I better post about running. If I love coffee and hole-in-the-wall coffee shops, which I do, honey lavender lattes is my favorite thing of all time. I purposely go to hole-in-the-wall coffee shops when I go to new towns, and everybody knows this about me because I want to find the hole-in-the-wall mom and pop coffee shop to find the best honey lavender latte, and then I will post it in my stories and I will rate it. I kid you not, right? But if I'm going to have that conversation based off someone else posting a picture of their cortado or of their latte or whatever it is, and I don't post about it, there's this disconnect, right? We have this disconnect between I sent a message to you and you're not seeing any of that type of content from me. So the new model is we have to target our content based off the conversations we know we're going to have in our DMs. And then, of course, we have to couple it with actually sending the messages and intentionally doing it. Last stat I'm going to share with you, and this was really, really eye-opening to me. Jonathon actually was the caveat to how I discovered this metric. But there was a very recent LinkedIn study where social sellers saw a 51% chance, or were 51% more likely to reach their sales goal if they were actually selling through social, which is mind-blowing. 50% of you on this call or listening to it on the recording will get your goal if you figure out how to sell through social. 50% of you. Like, that is a massive number, right? And what happens is why this is so powerful and why really social selling is the future of sales in general is we will skip this cold call side of things. We no longer will ever have to make them because we start warm conversations instead. So my favorite way of describing it is the 100 DM challenge versus the 100 cold call. So if you have two lists, 100 names on one list, and all you have is first name, last name, and that's it next to it. Two things, right? 2 lists, 100 names, first name, last name, and that's it. That's all you have about them. Versus the same exact list, you have an extra column, and in that column, you have 2 or 3 things about that person. Where their kids, or like something that they recently posted about their kid, right? Oh, their kid won a cheerleading contest, or oh, your son started soccer, or you guys just got back from Disneyland, or you're on a cruise, or XYZ, right? You have 3 things about the person. So imagine if you had two lists, one with nothing other than their first name, last name, phone number, second list, first name, last name, phone number, and these three things, which list are you more productive on? I mean, I don't even feel like I need to ask that question. I think you guys know, but it's pretty obvious, right? The difference between list one and list two is you have all of this warm information that can create a connection before you even ever try to sell them something or before you even bring up anything related to doing mortgages. Insane difference, right? It's just insane. So let's talk about three things about why this process works and why social media prospecting is so important. Three things. Number one, we have to create the strategic content because it positions us to be able to have conversations while also, right? I'll say that again. It positions us to be able to have the conversations that we want to be having while also educating and building trust, right? If you want to talk about DTI, you want to talk about the conventional loan limits, you want to talk about the new program, you want to talk about blah, 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 whatever it is, do it, but position it from a place of passion, right? Bring your passions into your content. There's a strategy that is part of what I teach where you build an analogy between something that you love and a pain point. You turn it into a 5-part series, and that 5-part series becomes the the entire part or structure of your main content for the month. So right now, today, I got off a call this morning with a client who's in the process of building a series about smoking meat, right? So he's going to be smoking meat in the videos. So the videos themselves, all 5 of them, he's literally in the element of his Traeger out in front of him, his green egg. He's got the meat. He's got all the seasonings out. And he's leading with this analogy of how does the smoking meat process and choosing which seasoning matter as it relates to the pain point that we're digging into. So we're educating, but we're doing it from a place of authenticity and connection first, because what's going to happen when you post content like that, people are going to comment on it. You're also educating at the same time. You're literally creating an analogy between the concept of smoking meat and how to choose what seasoning or what temperature based off what type of meat and whatever the pain point is that we've coupled with it. So it's fun. And that content is strategically built so that we know in our DMs when we're having conversations, which is bullet point number 2 there, we are now having conversations with other people about things that we actually like. Like, can we simplify or can we get back to this place of actually enjoying what we do every day? Right. And that's a huge part of this. With the target and engagement piece, the other part that I want to say is you have to understand who you're messaging, right? Having a structured conversion strategy is what this looks like. Literally every day of your week, who are you sending a message? What category are you focused on so that you're not missing anything, right? We have a 5-day tracker. Each of the 5 days, you have a very targeted, very specific category of person or location, or even, for example, one of the days might be your realtor partners. You might have one of your days of your 5-day tracker where all you're doing is connecting with the partners that are already in business with you so that you're staying top of mind with them through social. But it is super, super targeted, right? And that's really important. Now, the last piece is your systemized follow-up. I actually had a call with a client last week, and he asked me a really interesting question. He said, Michelle, how many times should I follow up with someone before I give up? And I was like, until they give you a no. Why would you not follow up with them until they said straight up no, right? That is sales. We are in the business of sales. You must follow up until you get a hard no. And that's pretty much as simple as that gets. So we have to strategize our content to become and know that the content itself, meaning what we're posting within the content, has to be the foundation of what we say when we're prospecting or what we're talking about in our DMs. And then we have to follow up like nobody's business, right? We have to be king and queen of our follow-up process. Now, I'm going to bring Jonathon back up on the screen with me, and I'll put this up on this on the screen with you guys simultaneously. But Jonathon asked or gave me permission to give you guys access to my calendar. So if any of you guys would like to talk to me personally, if you want to have a conversation about what you're currently doing, if there's something that needs adjusted, if you just want my eyes on it, right? Let's have a conversation and see if I can help you guys actually get where you want to be in 2025. John, all yours, sir.
Very much. It's deep, y'all. Like, it goes so deep. I commented on the Facebook page earlier when you were talking about social media. Like, it's just starting now. You know, it's just starting to take off. Like, yes, it picked up in 2019, 2020, but people are just starting to understand how to leverage it from a sales standpoint very recently. And so you're really diving into the intricacies of it. And I know you're going down these rabbit holes constantly of reevaluating yourself, your business. And I know what you keep putting together is of what's to come or what's already happening. So you giving those real tangibles, like even with Tyler and the running, you're right. Like it's just like a phone call. On a phone call, you have 2 to 3 minutes for a first impression. Your social media is no different. You got 2 or 3 posts to make that impression. So now it's just a matter of how you facilitate and represent yourself. So I really appreciate you putting that together for us.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Listen, take care. Be safe. I know you're headed off here shortly, but we appreciate you jumping on and we look forward to a lot more. You're one of the great vendors that we've been fortunate to partner with and providing a tremendous amount of value. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, John. See you soon.
See you, Michelle. Bye. And then, I'm bring Tom Ahles back up here for those that have any questions. And also on here, I always love this. Chris with a K, y'all know who she is. You are really good at being in the DMs, always on social media, always checking in. You're always thinking about it night and day. So I just wanted to prop you out. I know you said I've been in the DMs for a long time. You're not wrong. You do a great job of that and don't stop. Your consistency is admirable. So we appreciate you. Look, if you have any questions additional that we missed, put them in there. I just brought Tom up here to answer any of your questions. If you don't, I have a quick story to share with you about reciprocity. I've shared it before, but I'm going to share it again. Sales means that you are a high-level communicator. We are done, and I'm going to continue to say this, and I'm not going to stop. We are done with the negative connotation around sales. You are not Matilda's dad sitting up, patching together cars and putting duct tape on these cars just like Matilda's dad used to do. The best salespeople I know are the highest level communicators I've ever met in my life. So there's a process to sales, and I'm curious if you know your process. Like if I were to tell you, you have a networking event, what are the 5 things you need to do at your networking event, and you just don't know at all what to do, then you have to sit down and ask yourself, what is my sales process? You see, a sales process doesn't just have to do with presenting alone. A sales process is something you can apply to anything that you're doing that is revolving around that end goal of you wanting to strike up some sort of relationship with somebody. And it all starts with reciprocity. Reciprocity has been going on for thousands of years, and every top salesperson starts with this. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. Example number 1 is a story back from the 18th century. Example number 2 is a story from very recent. Matter of fact, you probably know of this place. The first story of reciprocity is good old Ben Franklin. Yes, that Ben Franklin, 18th century Ben Franklin. You see, Ben Franklin was trying to put together a bunch of different laws for this country, the laws that you and I are living through to this day, hundreds of years later. Well, part of him putting together all these laws, there was a legislator who, believe it or not, was becoming a pain in his behind. Can you believe that a legislator being a pain? Looks like things haven't changed even hundreds of years later. So Ben's trying to figure out, what do I do? How do I break through? He needs this person to help him go in the direction that he wants for this country. But this guy just won't listen to Ben. Every time they talk, it's contention. The guy doesn't agree with anything Ben Franklin says. Finally, Ben says, you know what? I got to take a different approach. And this is a documented story you can look up. And he says, you know what? This legislator is a rare book collector. Matter of fact, so am I, says Ben Franklin. So he says, let me ask him to borrow a book that I don't have. So he reaches out to this guy, and the guy, thinking normal, thinks it's going to be a confrontational conversation, so his defenses are up. Ben says, no. He says, listen, is there any way you have this book that I'd love to read? Any way I can just borrow it? I'll return it to you after a week. I just want to read the book. I don't have it. I prefer not to buy it. I just want to borrow it. Is that okay? The guy's taken back, and he goes, huh? Oh, okay. I'll give you the book. So he gives Ben the book. Ben takes the book, takes it for a week. And then when he returns the book a week later, it all changed. A week later, he returns the book. But inside of the book, the guy wrote a very detailed letter to the legislator thanking him. I know we don't see eye to eye. I know we're not on the same page, but I just want to say thank you for this book. Would you believe that after that day, they actually struck up a friendship? Can you believe that? A friendship was struck up from argument. You would think nowadays that that's impossible. with the current climate that we're in, but it was done hundreds of years ago. And by the way, it shaped the build out of this nation that we call home. Now, you're just trying to get some business from a real estate agent. I don't think you're trying to shape the landscape of America. But do you go in with the thought process? Do you have a play? Is reciprocity on your mind? One last story about it, really quick. One more recent. You might be saying, John, old white guys from hundreds of years ago, it's not us. Fair statement. So what about Costco, Sam's Club, Ralph's, Albertsons? You know, when they give free samples, you think it's because they want to be kind to you? Believe it or not, it is a marketing strategy for the free samples. They believe that when they give you a free sample, the likelihood that you buy the product that's right next to them is very high because you're returning a favor. Oh, they just gave me a free sample. Those crackers were kind of good, though. They're only $4. That cheese was good. It's only $3 for that. I'll just grab 2 of the cheeses. That's $6 right there. There's a rhyme and a reason. Does that make Costco bad people? No. Does that make Sam's Club bad people? No. Saves my butt over here with 3 kids. So reciprocity. How do you incorporate it in your business? That's my challenge to you and my story to you. Is do you have reciprocity in your playbook when you enter a networking event, when you're talking to a real estate agent? John, how would you use it for a real estate agent? Well, stop calling for just a cup of coffee. Instead, why don't you call an agent and cold call them and say, hey, Tom, out of curiosity, you know, over the last 5 years, there's been 5 deals of clients that have worked with you, but when they sold their house, they used a different agent. Do you know who all 5 of those are? Huh? What? Oh my, what? What do you mean? What did I miss? That's how I start my cold calls to real estate agents. You'd be surprised how far it goes. And that's why I have so many progies in my freezer for those samples. Tom is spot on. But I'm going to leave you with that. Tom, I'm going to leave you with the final words, my friend. So you're not just sitting here, but I wanted to end with that.
No, that's all right. I love the stories. I think that's part of the art of sales. And if you notice, it's one thing Jonathon has honed in on is like everything that he's doing for us is a coaching opportunity, right? To me, you're getting, if you notice what you pay for coaches nowadays, there's some good ones out there that charge, $1,500, $2,000 a month. We're giving it to you for free, right? Part of being a part of our membership. It drives what our mission is. How do we help you, right? The art of storytelling is the art of sales. And so I like to hear the stories. For a minute there, you lose me for a little bit, and I'm like, where's this going? And then you always tie it down, right? It's part of why, from an education standpoint, we keep getting better. I just hope for our community, we can continue growing with strength in those that are committed to our mission, which is really just helping everybody close more loans, because that's really what it comes down to. That's what our organization is about. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for giving Jonathon and I this opportunity. And please, like I mentioned before, any questions, you have the transparency with this group. We look forward to continue to provide it for you, and just hope everyone crushes their day. We're getting into the middle of February. It's time to dial in, right? We got spring market coming. Anything we can do to help you, we're here to make it happen.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. You all have a fantastic day. Take care.